Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Tuesday, November 18, 2025. And in the news this evening, man murdered down along Flanker Main Road. The St. James police are now investigating what appears to be a fatal hit and run along the Flanker Main Road on Tuesday morning. The deceased, whose identity has not yet been ascertained, appeared to be a male. He received several broken limbs and different injuries as a result of the impact. The body was subsequently moved for post-mortem arrangements. Indicom probing police fatal shooting in Gregory Park. The Independent Commission of Investigations has launched a probe into the fatal shooting of an unidentified man in St. Catherine on Monday. The deceased is yet to be identified. It has been reported that about 4:45 p.m., the police were on patrol along the Gregory Park Main Road in St. Catherine when the driver of a Toyota Axia motor car was signaled to stop. The driver reportedly disobeyed and sped off, and the police drove behind the vehicle, which crashed into a wall. Occupants of the vehicle reportedly alighted and started firing at the police party, which returned the fire. The police say when the shooting subsided, a man was found on the passenger seat, clutching a firearm and suffering from what appeared to be gunshot injuries. The police say the firearm was a 9mm pistol affixed with a magazine containing 1 round of ammunition. The man was taken to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. St. Mary police investigating gun found in cemetery. The St. Mary police are investigating the discovery of a firearm in a shallow grave in the cemetery in Robbins Bay on Tuesday morning. Police reports indicate that around 2 a.m., the St. Mary Criminal Investigation Bureau was conducting an intelligence-led search, which led them to the cemetery. During the search, a black Arnson Silla AS shotgun was discovered in a shallow grave. No one has been arrested in connection with the find. Melissa forces change to allege the scammers check-in point. With his house in Westmoreland impacted by the recent storm, Inigo Campbell, who is facing lottery scam-related charges, has received a court approval to change his reporting station to St. Elizabeth. Judge Keisha Grant Price approved the request made by Campbell's attorney Michael Hemmings on Monday and extended the accused man's bail until January 20, 2026. Grant Price emphasized that all other conditions of Campbell's bail remain unchanged. The case was scheduled for transfer to the St. James Circuit Court on Monday, but the move was delayed after Campbell's mother, a Westmoreland resident who was to stand the surety, failed to appear in court. Her absence prompted the judge to extend Campbell's bail until the next hearing. Campbell faces charges of possession of identity information and the possession of an access device. Court records indicate that the charges stem from a police raid on October 29 at a 2-story home in Arcadia, St. James. Campbell is a resident of that parish. The allegations are that officers searched the room where he was present and discovered a silver phone on a dresser. Campbell allegedly provided the passcode allowing police to access identity information stored on the phone, reportedly belonging to individuals residing overseas and linked to lottery scams. Police urge people to report domestic disputes before lives are lost. There is a call for residents to report instances of domestic disputes to the police so that the necessary intervention can be implemented to prevent serious injuries or loss of life. It follows last week's brutal murders of 29-year-old teacher Taro Pinnock and her 14-year-old daughter Talia Wright, which the police say stemmed from a domestic dispute. Senior Superintendent of Police Hopeton Nicholson, head of the St. Catherine North Division, told the students and the staff at a devotion at Bridgeport High School that the police were unaware there was a domestic dispute. He said over 750 incidents of domestic disputes were reported to the Spanish Town Police over a 4-month period, and the swift intervention by the police prevented loss of life.
That is enough statistics for me to declare that when intervention takes place on a timely basis, it is less likely for someone to be seriously injured or be killed. And the intervention takes place with the stakeholders, it takes place with the government organizations. We may use the CDA, we may refer them to the domestic violence intervention centers, we may refer them to the court. In some instances, we have to make arrests. But at all times, when these are brought to the police attention, we try our very best to intervene, and we refer to the relevant institution or organization for further assessment and action to be taken.
Grief gripped Bridgeport High in St. Catherine on Monday as staff and the students struggled to come to terms with the death of Talia Wright, who was a student at the school. The grade 8 student and her mother, Tara Pinnock, who was an educator at Bridgeport Primary School, were murdered at their home in Spanish Town last Thursday. According to police reports, Ms. Pinnock and her daughter were discovered at home with multiple stab wounds. They were pronounced dead at hospital. Support is being provided for students and the school communities impacted by the loss. Marcia Palmer, acting vice principal of Bridgeport High, said the school was sent into shockwave when news of the tragic incident spread. She said the school and the ministry's guidance counseling team immediately sprung into action and visited the home of the deceased to lend support to loved ones and friends.
We have Miss Marcia Higgins, who is our education officer for QEC 57. She was here with us and she was supported by the guidance and counseling unit from the Ministry of Education and our health and family life education officer. So they were all here with us and we sat, we spoke, and it's just one day at a time.
Motorists warned about a breakaway along Sedberg Main Road in Manchester. The Christiana Police in Manchester are advising motorists to exercise caution when traveling along the Sedberg Main Road, as a section of the roadway has been partially damaged. A breakaway has developed along the roadway. Motorists are being encouraged to use the Springground Main Road as an alternative route if heading into Spalding or Mandeville. NWA working to restore traffic signals in western parishes. The National Works Agency is undertaking extensive repairs to its traffic signal infrastructure in the western parishes of St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and Hanover. The parishes were among the worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. The NWA says several signals within the city center of Montego Bay, St. James are now operational. Additionally, the traffic signals at the intersection of the Danieltown Road and the North Coast Highway near Falmouth in Trelawney are now operational. Community Relations Officer at the NWA, Janelle Ricketts, says that the agency is now ramping up efforts to have all the signals in St. James working fully. Consequently, motorists traversing the western city may encounter delays over the next 2 days as the team works to effect the necessary repairs. The NWA says teams will be targeting signals in downtown Montego Bay, Alice Eldemere Drive, and the AGS Combs Bogue Roadway. The traffic signals in the parishes of Hanover and Westmoreland are also receiving attention. However, the agency says its work is being stymied by power supply issues, as much of these parishes are still without electricity from the Jamaica Public Service Company. Ricketts says that even as the NWA is working to bring back all impacted traffic signals online, there may be temporary disconnections at times over the next few weeks. She explains that some of these signals will require additional maintenance work given the impact of the hurricane on some hardware components. Ricketts says a number of accidents have been observed at several critical intersections and is reminding motorists that when traffic signals are out of commission, no one has the right of way. Motorists are therefore being urged to take due care as they navigate these intersections. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.